Price, a Republican from Georgia. He is the House Policy Committee chairman and a member of the Budget Committee. It's good to see you, Congressman. Good morning.
Thanks so much. Good to be with you.
Literally in the last hour, I saw an op-ed that you wrote pop up on the website of the Atlanta Journal and Constitution, and it was sort of headlined "A Message to Taxpayers," and it argues that House Republicans are the only thing standing between families and a tax increase. How is that?
Well, as you well know, the fiscal cliff that we're talking about has all sorts of components to it. It's not just marginal rates. It's the estate tax, it's the death tax, it's capital gains, it's dividends, it's alternative minimum tax, all the things that will harm the vast majority of Americans from a tax standpoint in a very, very fundamental and significant way. So we believe that those rates ought not increase. The president apparently is willing to play politics, as Dana just mentioned, and take us to the brink of raising those tax rates on virtually every single American. That's not what we believe is the kind of activity that will get our economy and jobs rolling again.
What the White House would argue is that they are not the ones holding out to protect the top 2%, that it's the Republicans who are doing that.
Great point, Chris. The problem is that what the president's holding out for is a non-solution. The tax increases that the president wants on the top 2% will run this government not for 8 years or 8 months or 8 weeks, but run this government for 8 days, which means that it's not a solution. The president is not interested in real policy solutions by evidenced by what he has proposed. He's interested in politics, and that's the challenge that we have, is getting through that and making certain that we not be talking about politics. We talk about positive policy for the American people, getting the economy rolling again and getting jobs created.
You know, the administration, as we've been saying, has said that they're prepared to go over the cliff. We heard that from Tim Geithner. If Republicans refuse to raise taxes on the wealthy, and John Boehner said yesterday that's unacceptable, although he admitted any revenue will be coming from the rich. Let me play that for you.
Now, the revenues we're putting on the table are going to come from, guess who? The rich. Now, there are ways to limit deductions, close loopholes, and have the same people pay more of their money to the federal government without raising tax rates, which we believe will harm our economy.
There are, as I'm sure you know, Congressman, many GOP, not just centrists, but some conservatives. Ohio Congressman Steve LaTourette, for example, has advocated giving the president what he wants as part of a package that slows federal borrowing and reduces the debt by $4 to $5 million. Are you on board with that?
Well, it all depends what the whole package is, but what we're interested in, what I'm interested in, are real solutions. We're $16 trillion in debt. This is a government and an administration that has had $1 trillion plus deficits each year for the last 4 years, and that's what he proposes for the 4 years to come.
Let me ask you about one possible part of that Republicans have talked about, and that is that 2% and whether you're going to protect tax breaks for them. Here's what Steve LaTourette said. He said, quite frankly, some people in this 2% who call me, they're more worried about the fiscal cliff than about rates going up a couple of points. Thomas Rooney, in your party, Florida, if there's truly real entitlement reforms that's going to preserve Social Security and Medicare for generations to come, it's going to be very difficult for me to oppose higher rates for the rich. What about that?
Well, and to Mr. Rooney's point, if in fact there were fundamental, significant reform of Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, so that we in fact save and strengthen and secure those programs, just like we did in our budget, if those were included in the president's proposal, then that's something that we would talk about and very seriously consider, because that's where we've got to get. We've got to get real solutions. The problem with the president's proposal is that it's not a real solution. It's all politics.
Congressman Tom Price, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thanks, Chris.